He's not looking at this game like he can't play. And just like Brock, they're not looking like that at all. They think they're playing. So we'll see what happens. But they got to practice through the week and make it through it. But just in the walkthroughs and all already, they look fine.
What's good, Raider fans? Welcome back to Vegas Nation First and 10, brought to you by the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Station Casinos STN Sports. I am Vinny Bonsignore. I cover the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Vegas Nation. To my right is my great colleague and good friend, Adam Hill, who also covers the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Vegas Nation. And you just heard from Pete Carroll, the question of the day, obviously. The status of Brock Bowers, the Raiders' star tight end, who is dealing with a knee injury that he suffered against the New England Patriots in the season opener, and the status of Elandon Roberts, their middle linebacker, who suffered a sprained elbow in the season opener against the New England Patriots. It is Thursday. Remember, the Raiders play on Monday night against the Chargers, so their work week actually started today.
Well, today is Wednesday in NFL world.
It is, actually.
For the Raiders.
No question. That's how you almost have to look at it. But it is Thursday, and so this was the first time that we've had a chance to talk to Brock Bowers since Sunday's game. Same with Elandon Roberts, and we haven't talked to Pete since Monday. It seems like forever ago, but that's life in the NFL. And as of right now, I know Pete's optimistic that they're going to fight to be out there on the field Monday against the Chargers, and maybe that is the case. There's still plenty of time, or enough time, let's just say, to get them to that point. But talking to Brock Bowers a little bit later, he's not sure that he's going to play. He wants to play, obviously. But I don't know how promising it sounded talking to Brock Bowers, or if he was just being a realist or trying to set low expectations for him to be out there so that the fans aren't shocked if he's not out there. But I would say that as of right now on Thursday, I think that the Raiders would probably be making plans to be playing without Brock Bowers and hoping for the best that he will be out there.
Yeah, it wasn't, I think you would often expect if a guy was absolutely 100% going to play and you ask him if they're going to play, which we did, you would expect, yes, I'm playing.
Oh, sure.
I'll be out there. Of course, no question about it. And it was more of, I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to try to be out there. Hope I can be out there. So I think, look, we know that Brock Bowers is going to do everything he possibly can to be out there. If he is given the decision, he will play. I think we all know that. But it'll be up to the training staff and to see where he is and how he's able to get through. Pete Carroll said, as you heard, look, Elandon Roberts and Brock Bowers participated in a walkthrough this morning. That's not a real practice. That's just, hey, it's basically like this is where you stand. You walk over here, you go over here, you walk through some stuff. The actual practice report will kind of tell us when it comes out later today and then all throughout the week. And it sounds like Pete Carroll is certainly optimistic that at some point they will be able to be on the practice field. He said, later in the week we think that will happen. To what extent, I think we don't know. And that might be one of those, hey, let's throw them out there Friday Raiders world, Saturday real world. Let's throw them out there in the last practice of the week, put them limited, and just see how they get through it, and let the athletic trainers decide. It sounds like maybe it might be one of those type of situations. I think you're right. I think the plan throughout the week will probably be those guys aren't going to be there, and then as it gets closer, if they're there, they're a massive bonus to have out on the field.
Yeah, I want to go back to something you said though. If it was up to Brock Bowers, if the decision was Brock Bowers to be out there playing, I'm not so sure about that. And the reason I say that is I think Brock strikes me as somebody that is smart and understands his body and probably understands that it's early in the season.
Sure.
So I don't think I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I don't think that this was that he would put himself in harm's way if there was a chance that he could further damage the knee that cost him more games down the road.
But I think when you say it's up to you, I mean, the training staff isn't going to do that either. They know what he means to this organization.
Right.
If there's any chance of hurt, well, there's always a chance of getting hurt, of course. But I mean, if there's any risk of further damage to it, if you're going out there, they'll just say you're not playing. But if they said, hey, it's just a pain tolerance issue at this point, he's playing.
Well, yes,
I think that's the case.
In that scenario, absolutely. But it's just trying to read his body language a little bit today. And we did ask him, do you think you're going to play? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know
sure.
if I'm going to play.
Yeah.
So he needs to he needs to feel comfortable out there too, because this isn't high school football or, backyard football. You got to be able to protect yourself. You have to be able to feel like you could go out there and play well. And regardless of, Adam's absolutely right. If it's just a pain thing, then yes, I believe he'll be out there. But
and also, even if the Raiders know that he's not playing, like, it's beneficial to make the Chargers think that he might play. So I think they'll be pretty vague about it throughout the week, and then we'll see kind of how it plays out.
All right, so which segues right into the potential replacement for Brock Bowers, and I got a chance to talk to Michael Mayer and talk to Pete Carroll about Michael Mayer and Gino Smith about Michael Mayer. I guess any sort of comfort for Raider fans would be that, okay, if Brock Bowers can't go, you do have Michael Mayer, who had a nice game on Sunday, and I think would be ready for a bigger and more enhanced role. And how important do you think it was, especially given the circumstances of how the role might be more increased? How big do you think Sunday's performance was, getting Michael Mayer involved in some big moments, actually?
Yeah, I think it's big for his confidence, for sure. Not that he's been lacking in. I mean, he knows how well he's been performing in preseason and throughout training camp, the OTAs, everything else. So he knew the level that he was at. But I think just for him to go out and do it, to be a focal point of the offense, to be able to make some plays, and especially as you said in key situations, that fourth down where he clearly was not the first or second option, to find some space for Gino Smith to trust him on one of the most important plays of the game, and to hit him with that pass on which was incredible, back across the body, and Michael Mayer backpedaling into space, finding a way to come down with that catch. Like, those are big plays, and I think that's big for the confidence in the team. Brock Bowers and Mike Mayer don't exactly play the same role in the offense, so it's not like he would just step in to that same spot. But to still have a weapon at tight end, as Pete Carroll said last week, they don't have a 1 and a 2; they have 2 1s. And I think that they feel that confidence in him. And let's also not forget, like, Ian Thomas has been there, right? I mean, and that's a guy who has been really, really good throughout the offseason. If he has to step up and take a bigger role, and he almost steps in as to more of that Brock Bowers type of role at a tight end, not necessarily in line all the time. So that would be a guy to watch too. If Brock Bowers doesn't play, again, it's a big if, but we're talking through these scenarios. If he's not out there, I think Ian Thomas does step into a pretty prominent role as well.
Yeah, and going last thing on Michael Mayer, the reason I think it was big for him, and getting a chance to talk to him, and getting a chance to know him, he's heard before, oh, you're going to be a bigger point of the offense. Oh, it's our intention to get you more involved, and games came and went without that being the case. So I think for his confidence and his continued belief in this coaching staff and Gino Smith, for it to actually happen, I think is big for him. Not that anybody here under this new regime has doubted him at all, and I think Gino Smith is understanding, what kind of an asset Michael Mayer can be, and again, just a good thing all around that they got involved. And that also segues into another weapon that I'm writing about, and this will be out on Vegas Nation tomorrow, posted later on tonight, is Trey Tucker, and the importance of, again, talking about getting Trey Tucker more involved and seeing what we saw during training camp, where he was targeted a lot in training camp, and lo and behold, in game one, and it's just game one, it has to continue. But he was also it wasn't a huge part of the game plan, but he was a significant part of the game plan.
Yeah, no question about it. And again, he's similar to Michael Mayer, a guy who kind of his first couple of years, it's like, oh, he's going to be a big part. He's going to be a big part, and he just hasn't put up those big numbers. I think on our preview show for the season, what is one thing I'm sure of? I think it was that Trey Tucker is going to have career highs. And I said at the time, like, not necessarily a high bar. I mean, he hasn't been able to put up big numbers.
Right.
But we did see it in week one. I mean, obviously, only a couple of catches, but very impactful in the game for sure. And certainly that touchdown, which came on just a perfectly run play in terms of everybody understanding their role in the blitz pickup. If you blitz and it's picked up that perfectly, there should be a touchdown, because your quarterback's going to have all kinds of time, and Gino Smith did, and he floated it down to what was essentially a wide open Trey Tucker. I mean, the play could not have been designed or not have been run more perfectly from the design. That was I thought the most impressive play from the entire game on Sunday, and he's the beneficiary, and they trust him, and there's no question about it.
Well, I'm going to say the biggest difference, I think, for Michael Mayer and Trey Tucker, I'm just going to say it is Gino Smith.
Sure.
Compared to the quarterbacks that they had here early in their career. For both Michael Mayer and Trey Tucker, it was the same draft class. So it was supposed to be Jimmy Garoppolo, and then it was Aiden O'Connell. Then it was supposed to be Gardner Minshew. Then it went back to Aiden O'Connell, and there were other quarterbacks that were
Desmond Ridder.
Was involved there for a little while. Yeah, Gino Smith's just a better quarterback than those guys, and I think getting a chance now to know and cover Gino Smith. There's a little bit of NBA. There's a little bit of NBA to his game, and I think he sees himself as this ultimate point guard. No doubt about it. He wants a lot on his shoulders, and he's gonna make big plays and make big shots if we want to go NBA on everybody. But at the same time, he also understands that he needs to be a distributor. So that point guard mentality that he has, I think, benefits guys like Michael Mayer, because as Adam said, Michael Mayer was not the first option on that fourth down play. But what does a good point guard do? Scans the court and sees the open man and gets the ball to the open man. So from my perspective, I think Trey Tucker, I'm with you. I think both of those players are going to have career years this year based on career numbers, career highs. And I think it starts with the quarterback that they're now working with.
Yeah, I think I won't share who it was because it's off the record. You might be able to figure it out. I talked to somebody about that play who said the quote was they ran that play a gazillion times in practice and throughout OTAs and through the offseason, and only a couple times did the ball end up in Michael Mayer's hands. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he obviously was not the first option. I think, Trey Tucker was kind of open on that play. Gino Smith took a shot, trusted that Michael Mayer was going to come down with the catch, and he did. And if you watch the play back and you watch especially the All-22 where you see the play kind of develop, like, it's very clear he's there as an outlet, but it's like, let's not get to that point in the read. And he did, and but he trusted him, and he knew he'd be able to find some space, and Gino put it up there, and he knew he'd be able to come down with it. Because if he doesn't, that's a huge play. It goes the other way. Of course,
it's the Patriots have the ball on a much shorter field. Let me ask you this: sometimes football, all sports, go make a play. You got to make a play. And do you recall a time where there's been a quarterback here that could just go make a play like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was a significant play because it was fourth down. It wasn't anything massive in terms of, it was a good throw and all that, but just the ability to go off script in some ways, and go figure out a way to go make a play. I have all the respect in the world for Derek Carr, but if it got down to that read for him, the play was usually dead, right? Like, there wasn't a lot of improv that was happening. He just wasn't built or wired for that. So I think that's the quarterbacks since I don't know that had the capacity to do that too, but this quarterback does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was times Derek Carr made plays. I don't want to.
I'm not saying they didn't make plays, but they came within.
We remember a lot of the standout ones, throwing it away on fourth down and that sort of thing, which are obviously not acceptable. He could make plays at times, for sure. And like, we also don't.
But that kind of.
But we're also looking at this as, hey, Gino Smith had one chance to do it, and he did it. It's 1 for 1. He's going to do that every time. I don't think you can look at that as like that's consistently going to be what happens. Like, there's going to be times where he fails too.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And Derek Carr was here so long. Sometimes you say, when somebody's here long enough, you start to see all the warts and everything else. So I think Derek was here long enough where you start to see some of the times where it went wrong. Right now, Gino Smith is 1-0. He's perfect. He's done everything right. I'm sure there's going to be times when, we're not saying that. But, yeah, he comes out of that game, and especially making that play, looking very good.
He also did that on the 11-yard run to get a first down, which, by the way, may have come at a little bit of a price, Gino Smith. He's dealing with a little bit of a hamstring. It was pretty obvious right after that run. He was walking back.
It was obvious on the run.
It was obvious on the run, and then it was obvious after the run, which kind of makes what he did after that, even more significant and prominent. And I'm no doctor, but I did see him, walking around a little bit today, and there's something going on.
You're never fully healthy during an NFL season,
right?
That's for sure.
But
it's pretty noticeable.
Keep it something to definitely keep an eye on, especially for Monday night. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do, I just want to remind everybody that you guys asked for it, and we are delivering it literally. Great Raider coverage. at a reduced price. Over at Vegas Nation, a digital subscription to Vegas Nation can be had right now for 25 cents for the next 3 months. That's 25 cents a quarter, a whole quarter for the next 3 months of a digital subscription to Vegas Nation. All you got to do is go to mylvrj.com/nation. That's mylvrj.com/nation and sign up for the next 3 months of Vegas Nation coverage on a digital basis for 25 cents. That's a pretty good deal. Go check it out. When we get back, we're going to dig deeper, take a little bit of a look at the Chargers matchup, the Monday night aspect of it, which players are kind of downplaying a little bit. Pete was up. He was embracing it. He's ready to go on Monday night, but we'll talk about that in just 1 second.
History with Jim has been a fun rivalry to watch, but it's always been respectful. I'm not trying to make it anything that's not. But what's your fondest memory of this rivalry with Jim Harbaugh?
I remember Jim. No, I don't. I have no fond memories. I'm not going to go there. They're good. There's great games. They've been great games. That's all.
He said that
There's been a bunch of them.
that you guys in a different life could have been great teammates. When he says something like that, what is that?
Well, I think that would come from the. He's seen my game, and so he would like me to help him win. If I could, and so he'd like us to play together, I guess. But one thing we would certainly see eye to eye on is about competing. He's always been a great competitor, and he battled through so much in his playing days and in his coaching days as well. So I appreciate him saying that because I'd like to play with him too.
He said that you're not on each other's Christmas, or he's not on your Christmas card list. Do you expect a birthday card from him then?
Well, I'm surprised he would say that because he sends me a birthday card every year. So I don't know what to tell you.
Well, Adam, among many storylines in this game, a chance for the Raiders to go up 2-0 to start the season, a chance to beat a division rival, a chance to avoid a massive road trip next week to Washington with a 1-1 record rather than a 2-0 record, which is obviously what they would prefer. The home opener, Monday Night Football, all some great storylines for this game is the one of Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh renewing their rivalry, which goes all the way back to when Pete was the head coach at USC and Jim was the head coach at Stanford. And it started from there. It's not stopped. They then became coaches in the same division in the NFC West. Pete with the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh with the 49ers played in some massive games, both in college and in the pros. And now they get to square off again. And interesting hearing both of them talk. Jim Harbaugh famously earlier this week said, "Oh, we would have been great teammates, great friends. It would have been great, but life takes its twists and turns. So instead, we're competitors. And for that reason, I don't know that I'm on Pete's Christmas card list. Which Pete seemed a little bit hurt by.
He was. I think he was joking a
Yes.
little bit for sure. But yeah, I mean, look, there's a great rivalry. There's a great history back and forth between them, both at the college and the pro level. Two of the more successful coaches at both levels too. I mean, they've had a lot of success. They've had a lot of good, battles, a lot of good, moments after games, that sort of thing, throughout time. So I mean, yeah, I think that's exciting, and I understand why, Pete Carroll is not gonna hype it up, but he's not gonna shy away from it. I mean, as you heard there, he's gonna make jokes about it and welcome it, and he's a competitor. It's what he likes to do. He likes to compete, and this is another guy who's all about competition all the time. Like, you understand why Harbaugh would say, like, they probably could have been good teammates and good friends at one point, but the track that they were on is a different one. They're just the ultimate competitors, and they like to go head-to-head, and trust me, it means every game means the same in the standings, but these mean a little more between them, knowing that they're now in the same division for the second time, which is very weird.
Well, and third, if you put it in college.
Same conference as
same
well, yeah.
Conference in college, and that's where it starts for me. And I mean, for those that aren't aware or weren't born or too young or whatever the case, or weren't paying attention, to understand where USC was at that point when Jim Harbaugh became the head coach at Stanford, it was two different worlds. I mean, there were two different programs, and there was no way to even ever predict or see what Jim would ultimately do at Stanford. And I give him so much credit at the time and even looking back now, because there were a lot of coaches that came into the Pac-12 at that time and were afraid to kind of poke the bear that USC was. They ruled the world. Now Oregon did, to their credit, but certainly like a program like Stanford that was coming from so far behind. The last thing that you would have imagined the head coach would do would point directly at USC and say, that's who we're coming after.
Yeah.
But that's what Jim Harbaugh did.
That's who he is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, even Pete up down there, when you're talking about the state of California, was like, what? Seriously? And it didn't take long for Stanford to start competing with Pete Carroll. And so for me, that's where it all started. And I give, like I said, Jim Harbaugh a lot of credit for what he did at Stanford and who he came after and who he ultimately caught.
Yeah, and it still kind of lingers with Pete Carroll, and I tell you that because I know that because I was trying to do a story on Thomas Booker, who just came in to the Raiders, and I asked Pete about his intelligence. The first thing on the scouting report every time you read about Booker is smart, intelligent. And I asked Pete about that, and he goes, it's a Stanford guy. Of course, yeah. So you're going to ask him because he's a Stanford guy.
Right.
So, and he was joking, obviously, but that's still part of, Pete's DNA is he still has that kind of, rivalry going with Stanford. And that's because, it wouldn't have been a rivalry if it wasn't for Jim Harbaugh. Stanford was just a doormat, essentially, and Jim Harbaugh made him something. And so, I think that adds certainly some spice. It's one of the reasons I think why this game is on ESPN for sure. And
here's another part of that is I have to go back and look. Maybe you remember, but didn't Chip Kelly and did their paths cross at Stanford, Oregon?
Had to have.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of something that we forget about because at that same time, when USC was doing its thing and Stanford's starting to grow. Man, Oregon came on as well, and Chip Kelly deserves a massive amount of credit, for that as well. So when we're done, I'm going to go look back and see what their track record was. But Chip Kelly is the offensive coordinator for the Raiders, so that's another little sidebar to all this.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of fun storylines. Certainly, this Raiders Chargers didn't need those added to the mix. But they've got them, and I think that makes it even more fun. And not to mention the Chargers are a team that were in the playoffs last year. They have the rivalries going back to the 80 AFC Championship game all the way to the game where the Raiders could have just not kicked the field goal and both teams would have gone to the playoffs. And the Raiders said, no, we're going to try to win the game.
Brandon
At
Staley.
the potential chance of even losing the game, which would have knocked them out of the playoffs, and just try to knock them out.
Right.
Which was a somewhat of a risk, but a risk the Raiders willing to take to get the Chargers out of the playoffs. So,
and the Chargers are coming off a huge win against the Kansas City Chiefs. Not just huge, but impressive win over the Kansas City Chiefs. And so, on top of everything else, you do have early in the season first place on the line in the AFC West. And I would think that for Gino Smith, even though he's never going to say this, an opportunity for him to really show the world, on a Monday Night Football, on the stage of Monday Night Football, that he's capable of going toe-to-toe with Justin Herbert, who, oh, by the way, no, he wasn't his backup, was he?
No.
He was not his backup. He missed Justin by a year.
Yeah.
As the backup quarterback in Los Angeles for 1 year. But it's an opportunity for him as well and I think this is a message that I'm curious if he's going to be able to deliver, because when we think of the AFC West and we think about the coaches, there's some great coaching matchups, but then you say, but there's also some great quarterback matchups. You got Patrick Mahomes, you got Justin Herbert, you got a young quarterback in Denver, Bo Nix, coming off kind of a bad game there for the opener.
Who saw that coming?
What's that?
Who saw that
Yeah,
coming?
there you go. But now enter into the picture Gino Smith, and I would imagine that this is something that, even though he's not going to talk about it, this is something that probably gives him a lot of motivation to go out there on a Monday night national TV and go toe-to-toe with Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. And that's, just like Pete is an ultimate competitor, Gino is as well, and that's kind of why they bond so well and why they mesh. And, yeah, I think that's going to be another big storyline of this week. I think Gino Smith in a new place and all of those things I think will be talked about a lot leading up to the game nationally. And I think even without all of these other storylines, all these other factors, I think it's a good game. It's a fun game. It's a game with a lot of history. But there's just all this added to the mix. Which you got
to imagine that ABC, ESPN, Disney, whoever owns those guys these days, pretty happy about this matchup, right?
Well, I think they're even more happy that they get to come in 2 days early, go to a fight at Allegiant, and all the production crews and all the people on the ground with those networks will be going to the fight on Saturday, and then sticking around for the game on Monday. But
By the
it's
way,
going to do good numbers too.
Aces could have a playoff game on Sunday too, right?
that's true.
They have to win tonight, and
Sure.
if they win, they would get the number 2 seed, which means that they would play either Sunday or Monday. I would imagine if Mark Davis has any pull, he'll make sure that's on Sunday. Because for those of you who don't know, the Aces play literally right across the highway from where the Raiders play. There's a lot of logistical nightmare scenarios that would be in play if the Aces have to play on Monday night opposite the Raiders.
Yeah, I don't think they want that.
Yeah.
I don't think they want to do it. Although it happened with the Golden Knights where they could have had a game that wasn't conflicting with the Raiders, and they ended up having a playoff game that did, or not a playoff game, a game that did conflict. I'm trying to remember when that was, but yeah, they could have had a different time. But yeah, they don't. Sometimes those things happen. In major sports cities like Las Vegas is, like, you get those carryovers. So I would think it'll be a big sports weekend in Vegas, no question. Capped off by Raiders and Chargers, which will be very fun.
Absolutely. Adam and I are going to take off. We're going to go out to the practice field to see.
Actually, I do want to say one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
We get a lot of comments, a lot of feedback, and I don't usually address it. There was one that really, you sent a tweet and deleted it, and that's fine. I know you commented on the YouTube too. I just want to say this. It's a joke that I do on the show occasionally.
Okay.
And I understand that somebody said it was unprofessional and it was rough for his kid to hear somebody making numbers up on the show. So oftentimes, if I know a stat that is kind of obscure, but I just happen to know it, I'll say it, and then I'll say to you, I just made that up.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And
yeah.
I understand why that would be like frustrating to a viewer to be like, why are you just making stuff up? You're supposed to be on a show. That's a joke I do. Just like, what it was I said, Gino Smith was like, I don't know, like 70.6% completion percentage. And I said, I just made that up, by the way.
Yeah.
And you said, hey, my kid is watching this. Like, you shouldn't be feeding him fake information on the show. And I agree with you, and I understand that. It's a joke I've done several times on the show.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that one out.
So what was the completion percentage?
70.6.
Yeah, exactly. So
it was exactly right.
He was just kidding.
That was the joke. It was just a total joke. But I understood why I'm addressing it is because we do get a lot of comments, and you're free to say whatever, positive, negative. That one was just one that got to me because you tweeted it and you sent it, and I said, you are right. You are right that we shouldn't do that, but we don't do that. Like,
right.
That was kind of a joke that we were doing.
There you
on
go.
the show.
And by the way, we go through the comments. Please keep it, PG rated. We don't need any of that. We're open to the criticism and the praise, all of that. We got broad shoulders. We're cool. It comes with the territory. But if you have any questions or if there's something that you ask this player that within reason, obviously, we're always open. So any suggestions, any recommendations, any criticisms, whatever you might have, address us. We're cool. I know you guys are cool. It's all amicable. There's respect there, and as long as it's handled with respect, we're willing to or open to answering any of the questions that you guys might have.
Sure, absolutely.
And on that note, we are going to go out to practice to see what's going on. We'll be back on Saturday. Remember, this is a Monday Night Football schedule. So the Raiders will practice today, Thursday. They'll practice Friday, which will be their normal Thursday day. And then they'll wrap it up on Saturday. We'll be back after Saturday's practice to wrap it up, although Adam's got to go to the fight later on that night. So it'll be a short and sweet preview into Monday's game. And then, of course, we'll be back on Monday night after the game, win, lose, or draw. Adam and I will be here with Vegas Nation First 10 to give you our thoughts on the game. But enjoy this one. Thank you for the support. Don't forget to go to mylvrj.com/nation. Get the next 3 months of a digital subscription to Vegas Nation for 25 cents. The next 3 months for 25 cents total. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. We'll talk to you guys on Saturday.